It's time for tea time.
Come on, bro. And the thing that's so crazy about it is when you say that is because I'm a person, I don't even have an immune system. Like, I get sick that easy. Like, my immune system is shot. You feel what I'm saying? But I've been on a health journey for like the past two years, 3 years, 4 years. You feel what I'm saying? So every time I'm opening my mouth, you know what I'm saying, or something talking good about my health. You know what I'm saying? Because I came a long way. I done shredded this weight. You know what I'm saying? I done toned this weight up. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel
Mm-hmm.
now I'm not speaking nothing but positive things about my
Yep.
about my weight. No insecurities about it, no nothing, even on my worst days, because I know what I've been through. I know I feel better than I've ever felt before.
Yep.
I have not been sick, bro. I have
Yeah.
I
Come on,
can't
man.
last time I've been sick
Come
besides
on, man. When's the last time you seen me sick? I've been coming around for. I was coming around for what, like consistently, like at least a year, probably before you moved. Shit, at least a year. I was coming around consistently. Nigga, you did not see me. I might have been stuffy one time, but you're not gonna consider. Oh man, I'm just so
right.
sick.
Well,
Hell no, nigga.
bro, I ain't gonna be able to come through. I'm talking about I was ill, bro. Like, come on, bro. I don't get ill, bro. What are you talking about?
Hell no, I don't get ill. Now my body does cleanse itself sometimes.
Everybody's body cleanses itself, but it's all about that perception. You got to know what your body going through, and you have to recognize as an individual person what have you been doing that you know that your body's trying to get rid of.
You know what you really just said?
No, let me know when you're
This
ready.
everything is my fault.
Let me.
Everything is my
Of
fault.
course it is. You were trying to just.
Got the hydration.
You got the hydration. You got your little drink there.
The
Take,
little sit there.
take you one
I'm
more.
dead. How they be cutting off vowels and shit.
Hey, yeah. Take you one more sip, yeah.
Shake your warrior.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Rasta. You ready?
It's time for tea time.
We on the journey of the soul, yeah. Come and ride with me on this odyssey. See a different side of me, getting high free. I know we're worthy of the show. Oh, man, know what a blessing. But learning these lessons through the spiritual lessons.
What is going on, my dude?
My man, what's good? It's nothing but blessings, man. Nothing but blessings and high vibes.
Blessings and high vibes. I know on that. I'm knowing that. Hey, this new, but I'm actually looking forward to it. I've been telling you for a long time. I've been wanting to get a session cracking with me and you when we get it going. Because them conversations that me and you be having, I be feeling like, you know, I mean, a lot of people should be diving into these conversations, even if it's from a listening aspect. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was happy to get you featured on a few shows and things, but now I'm happy that we got our own little segment going now. You know,
Oh God.
that's a blessing. So before we really get the rapping into this and stuff, like give people a little insight of who you is away from the music.
Away from the music, man.
Insight of who you is.
Man, you know, so none of the answers I ever give are easy or simple. You know that.
Right.
But away from the music, who I'm aspiring to be really is no one, nothing, like nobody. Literally, like the meaning of those phrases. Like I want to be nobody, meaning I'm separating myself from this physical body. I want to be no thing, meaning I'm separating myself from the physical altogether, the earth, all these material things, all of the manufactured concepts of the mind, all of that. So that's pretty much how I try to carry myself. For the sake of my physical existence and interacting with other physical beings, I choose to identify as Indigo Kua Kasha Mabe. You know, in alignment with what I believe is my ancestral heritage, you know, and taking on a name that has a certain power to it and its you know what I'm saying, meaning and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty much how I carry myself as a spiritual being. I try to be cool and vibe with motherfuckers and just smoke, you know what I'm saying, chill
That's funny
and
because
just,
I know you by your original name.
you know what I'm saying?
That name, I ain't gonna say original name, but that given name. You know what I'm saying? So now I get
Yeah.
that name. Still put a nickname on that name. So I'm happy to have Go a part of the show. You know what I'm saying? We out
Oh
here.
God.
You know what I'm saying? We
Oh
out here
God.
conversating. You know what I'm saying? But from hearing the conversation of what you're talking about, it's more so like you really dove into an aspect of like culture. You know what I'm saying? Freedom, culture being one's way of life. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
the culture is really being lived out through freedom. You know what I mean? Freedom of everything. You know what I mean? By not attaching yourself to anything. I don't want to be like anybody. I don't want to be like nothing. I have goals still. You know what I mean? I still have a vision. You know what I mean? I'm still visualizing things out. But I'm not comparing myself to anything or anybody because
And
the only limit is me. I am the limit. You know what I'm saying? I
the
set
only
the
limit is
bar
you.
for myself because if you set the bar for yourself, then I mean the sky is not the limit. But
Mhm.
when you let someone else be what you aspire to go out to be, now you're allowing someone else to be that bar. They're your sky and they're glitter. Once you get there, then now you're going to be confused on what's the next step
Mhm.
because you don't know what their next step was, but you just knew that you were trying to get to where they were at. You know what I mean? Chasing somebody else will never get you anywhere, but chase the goals and dreams that you set out for yourself and see where that gets you. Shout
Oh
out to
God,
my
but
boy,
like I'm not trying to.
shout out to my boy
Yeah.
Kari Curvison because that was one of the coldest things he had ever told me, and I'm telling you, it done stuck with me. You know what I mean? I done said this on a many shows, but he told me, bro, no matter what, chase your dreams because the worst that can happen is you get close. When you really sit there and you soak that in and you take that in, you realize what that really means. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're right because even if I never make it to my dreams, at least I made it to points where I didn't think I were points of my dream. With
Mhm.
chasing my dream, if I would have never chased my dream, I would have never got to these points. I would have never got to
Yep.
the positions that I'm in. So
And
yeah,
what's deeper on that? What's deeper with that too?
that's
Oh God, what's deeper with that too, man, is you got to be able to accept you got to be able to accept failure. You got to accept failure as a possibility.
hey, and the way that you prepare yourself to accept that failure is by when you visualize it.
Yeah.
When you set out a visual plan for what it is that you want to do, or you have a physical or a visual plan for what it is that you're trying to succeed, then you also put in play those pros and cons that might happen. So you kind
Yep.
of set yourself up for the failure. That way you can have a pre-game plan on how to come out the hole. You have a pre-game plan on how to defeat that failure. It's gonna happen regardless. Some things you just can't get away from. So it's gonna happen regardless, but you just need to know how to maneuver out, how to get around it. You know what I mean? It's like
Exactly.
that highway, and you know the possibilities is something could happen. I could possibly get a flat tire
Let me
because
get the
it's
spare
something
ready.
that I don't have control over.
Let
But
me make sure my
I have
spares aired up
and a jack. That way, I
and a tire iron.
flat tire and I can keep it rolling. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's gonna be some time knocked off from my end goal, but I'm still gonna be able to get there. But some people don't prepare for that and they get stuck on the side of the road. And what happened? You got to call AAA assistance. Now you're working on their time. And sometimes other people time that we're working on, they take forever.
Who you telling? Come on, say that again.
Because
Cause
sometimes the other people time we working on, they take forever.
It's time for tea time.
come on, man. That's why you can't be on nobody else's time. It's about you. It's always been about you. And but how detailed you visualize the goal is and this I want to get deep into visualization too as we're relating it to culture and freedom too. The more detailed you get with the visualization, the more detailed the journey will start to reveal itself. The more detailed the opportunities will start to reveal themselves. But it's not only just in envisioning the goal, because that's important, but people try to envision things to get to somewhere or to get something. That's not the purpose of visualization. Visualization is for the experience of it, so that you can gather the emotions and the feeling of being in that different space, and you know what I'm saying, be that different version of yourself, like the wealthy version of yourself that's gonna be rocking the Gucci slippers and the chains and the ice and shit with confidence, and not care that it's material things, and not see it as, you know what I'm saying, status symbols. In order to get there, you have to first convince the now you of the feeling of it. That's how you physically manifest it into the physical, because the physical is just a mirror of the internal, and that ties into the culture. If your internal is being conditioned by this society, and you believe that for example, that death is a sad or bad thing, or that it's loss, you will behave as such. You will consider it loss when somebody passes that's close, near, and dear to you. You'll behave and give it an emotional meaning that it is loss. So then the next time you experience death, your brain remembers the original experience, and you re-experience those emotions. The same thing goes for the things that we manifest into the physical. It's all based on your experience and the emotional response you give to that experience. That determines how it's burned into the memory, and then what the future behavior will be like.
This it kind of aligns with refinement.
Oh yeah.
It's the power. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the ability of what somebody has to do to better themselves. A lot of people don't have that power. A lot of people can't find that power within themselves. Power is not always relied on strength. Power is not always relied on knowledge. But when you actually sum up what power is, all of these things are found within power because this is what you are choosing to do to better yourself. Do you have the ability to better yourself? How much power do you have? Are you at level 9,000? Because level 9,000 would mean you would kind of be in an area where you at, where it's, I don't aspire to be nobody but myself. I don't aspire to do nothing but what I put my mind out, what I set out for myself to do. You know what I mean? That's power. You got power. A
Yep.
lot of people don't have power because, like you said, they're being controlled. They're conditioned. Society, what wants you to do. Excuse me.
Yep.
Words get
They
tired.
attached to the wrong kind of culture. They attached to
Yeah.
a foreign culture.
It's not a free culture that you're tying yourself to. You're being tied to this slave mentality culture. You know what I'm saying? You're not finding your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You're setting out the purpose of what somebody else is setting out for you. You know what I mean? I want you to be somebody that works. You're gonna work a full-time job. You're gonna get a 401k plan. You're gonna get a pension plan. You're gonna do this. You're gonna go to school. You're gonna get a higher education. You're gonna go to college. Why? Because all your uncles went to college. Come on now.
But let's understand why people subject themselves to that. Let's understand why people subject themselves to.
Would you put it under a generational curse?
No, this is what I would say it is. I would say it has to do with ego and how throughout time ego has developed into what it is now. And the way that the ego operates is it needs things that it can attach to that are quote unquote solid and defined and predictable, and where that it doesn't have to make any decisions. Like when it's all pre-scripted for you, it's easy. The ego can't accept the unknown, or it can't accept that the universe creates from nothing.
That's refined. It has
to see something in front of it.
That's in a way how you can defeat the ego is with refinement. You know what I mean? Putting it through that process of repetition. You know what I'm saying? You going with what your mind wants. You know what I mean? Not letting your ego go, but you're going with what it is that your internal is telling you to do. And you're creating a repetition out of that. You're creating a cycle out of that. You're fighting what it is that your ego is desiring, and you're going out to get your purpose and seeking. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is how you get the ego to have, you know what I mean? You almost, it's like a bad child. You got to get it to act right. You gotta.
Yep.
So you got to.
I was just watching something earlier about this, about how for most of our lives we live in a conditioned state of being. Pretty much, we respond to things subconsciously, and that pattern of behavior gets conditioned into the mind, and then the body responds. The body then becomes the subconscious mind to some degree because it knows how to do the behavior better than you do. That's why sometimes when you're driving, you can end up at your destination, not even remember how you got there. Because the body you have driven that route so many times consciously that now you can do it subconsciously. You don't even have to pay attention. So because we act out of ego for the most part subconsciously, we judge people. The first thing we do when we see somebody, look them up and down, look what kind of shoes they got on, what kind of clothes they wear, how their hair look, what does this mean, is there dirt on their skin, do they smell, how do their teeth look. We making all these judgments of the ego and categorizing and titling and shit, and we missing the experience of a free-born beautiful human being that is unique and divine in their own right, in their own creation. Nothing is repeated in creation. Nothing is the same twice. Everything is different and everything is always changing. But it's the ego that likes those, it loves either being the victim or having a one-up over somebody. Like it can't fathom not having what it believes are facts. It can't fathom just experiencing and being silent.
Right.
But that's why you gotta counter it by doing something over and over again that's different than what the ego is used to doing. That's like normally get up and drink that coffee. Don't do that. Go and get a bottle of water, and then think about going for a run or go for a walk. Do something completely different than what you would normally do, like, and start repeating it. But start repeating, not doing the same thing. Like not waking up the next day and getting another bottle of water. Do something different every single day. That's how you break the patterns of the ego.
you put it in a state of confusion where it doesn't know what to expect. It doesn't
Exactly.
even, and what happens is because now it doesn't know what it desires. It doesn't know what it wants. It wants what you wanted yesterday, but because you really didn't even want to do that yesterday, you were just doing it to be against the ego. Now you want to do something else today. So now you're almost hitting that red button. You're hitting the reset button on ego. So
And
now
then
it's
eventually it's just gonna be like it's gonna bend, it's gonna fold. Like when your body is hungry and it's telling you get up and go get some food. That's your ego talking. You as a spiritual conscious creator that's in control of this body can say, shut up. We're gonna get up and eat when we done with this video, when we done with this podcast.
and that's
Or
what a lot of people
we're
don't.
gonna get up when we done with this chapter in this book.
A lot of people don't understand that they're conscious creators of their own destiny, of their own life, of their own. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, as I stated before, are in search for something or someone to tell them what to do. You know what I mean? Why are you looking for something or someone to tell you what to do? You know what I mean? As a person, it's instilled into your brain at some point what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. You know what I'm saying? But it's for you to have an understanding of those things. Everything that you read and everything that you come across in life, it tells you have to read it for your own understanding. Because the same way you read something and I read something, we will not perceive it the same.
Nope.
Because our spirits will not allow us to, because we're not supposed to see it the same.
But the way that this society is set up is in opposite of that natural fact that you just said. Those natural facts. It suggests in a fictitious and false artificial way that there is a standard of living, or that there is a standard way to be.
Fact.
That there's this level that we all start off on, and you either can go up or down from there. And none of that is true. None of that is factual. Each individual life that is born is unique and individual, has an individual unique path. Some will turn into cokeheads. Some will turn into heroin addicts. Some will turn into doctors. And the doctor might treat that heroin addict.
Funny, I got to stop you real quick just because I know what level me and you be on, how we be vibrating. So I look down at the timer for the session, and the timer for the session said 1444. But at that moment when it said 144, I had a thought to interrupt you with, based on what you were just saying, and it's crazy because it's equality. People don't understand everything in existence, such as knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and all that. We all are equal to receive the same amount of it. It's what you want from it. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's why animals live in harmony. I think, man, you talked about this on a previous session that we did. We say we see it as bad, but we accept it. Because you'll see an animal do something, you'll accept it as the way of life. But yet you see a human being do something, and because you have no full understanding of what's going on in their life, you think you put the judgment on it being good or bad.
Without facts.
With no facts at all. Like, oh my God. It get real fun. It get real fun. It get real fun.
Yeah, man. We need the facts. We only come in with facts. If you ain't got facts, get out of here.
Man, look, when it comes to equality, you have to achieve that ultimate state of the equilibrium. Like, and that all evolves around knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
And you're talking about becoming pure consciousness.
Yeah, you have to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on both positive and negative to even be able to speak on something. Understand the positives of it and the negatives of it before you can even say you love it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that's out here falling in love with passions, but then next thing you know, 3 months, 6 months down the road, I don't even know why. I regret that I even, man, I never tried to, exactly, because you didn't even logically overview the entire situation to understand if it was really what you wanted to do.
Yep, you just did it because and really, a motherfucker can go back and remember why they did it. Not necessarily every minute detail and every microsecond, but a lot of us just say we don't know because that's a scapegoat from the real answer, like from telling ourselves the truth.
And the thing that really happens is people think that we tend to think that when we have to make a decision about something, it's funny because I'm going to say this and I looked down and it was 1717. When we come into contact with things, we tend to think that it's going to take us a long time to figure them out. it really doesn't take a long time to figure out when you have full awareness of like the ego
Mm-hmm.
and the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only time that confusion comes in, when your spirit is like, yeah, I want it. But then your ego goes to like, is your mama gonna accept that? What your sister gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is the homies gonna like that? That's your ego talking. You know what I'm saying? So then what happens? You second guess what you want to do, because now you looking around and, no, let me just do what the homies want me to do.
Yep. You
Uh,
worried about pleasing somebody else.
Let me do what mama want me to do. That's why you got so many depressed rich people walking around.
Yeah.
Because they wealthy, but they not even, the wealth has nothing to do with what it is that they want to do. That's why everybody have these secret things behind them that people don't know about. You meet somebody, then you go to their house and they got a million paintings on the wall. Like, dang, who did these? Me. Dude, you can sell these? Yeah, I know. So what you waiting on? Well, I'll be so busy with dad at the company. Man, listen. I'm speaking from
It's always a blame go to somebody else.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like,
The blame always go to somebody else.
you ever read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, but I heard about it.
Now listen, that's a great read, bro. That made me, they gave me a completely different outlook on raising my son. And you see how I raise my son.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not teaching you to be what they expect you to be. I'm teaching you to be whatever it is that you desire to be.
Mm-hmm.
You just make sure that if you're gonna do it, you gotta believe it and go at it with full potential.
Yep.
But no second guess, man. And then people gotta understand that about the people around them too. That you can't have people around you that second guess what you do, because that alone, that's like a boost for your ego.
Yep.
Your ego is on the inside, like, yeah. When people sitting there,
Just use the same word my roommate used earlier, a boost.
You really want to do that? Like, what you mean? Do I really want to do it? You know what I mean? People don't even have the balls to step up to somebody and say that. What you mean? Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm doing it. A lot of people don't got the balls to do that.
Yep, you just use the same word I use, the balls.
Yeah, they gotta ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, hey, go. Do you think I should try to go over here and do it? You know what I'm saying? Just to hear if you like, well, my cousin went over there and it didn't work out for him. And
you ain't your cousin.
I should probably
look that day.
You know what I'm saying? I should
something
else. Like, it's that control, man. It's that you gotta have.
And you know what's crazy? People willingly give up their freedom for a culture that does not you know what I'm saying, nurture a free life, and they willingly giving up their choices because they think it's easier. They willingly giving up their power, so they lose the ability to refine their thoughts, their visualizations, their imagination, their manifestations. And that's why, and they believe all of these delusions of the ego, and they compare themselves, and they feel like they got to compete, and they feel like shit ain't equal. Man,
that's that equilibrium. I had to look it up just to
that sweet spot. That sweet spot right in the middle.
Right. It's to be upright. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? When the mind, the body, and the soul have been properly cultivated, so it produces self-restraint, strength, courage, and prudence. That careful management. Like, get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, stand up straight, take control of what's yours, and do what you gotta do.
Get it together.
Because people don't even understand this one. A lot of us don't even realize that. A lot of us don't even realize that knowledge starts with self. Before you can know,
first have knowledge of self.
Come on now.
It's time for tea time.
Know thyself. Know thyself. When you know yourself,
for tea time.
Before you could be out here talking about you know anything, you better know yourself.
Come on, man.
Knowledge starts with self.
And you know what I know about myself? I have no knowledge. I know nothing. Everything is just an experience. Everything is new. Everything is changing. I'm embracing it. I'm experiencing life. I'm moving.
Every day is a new experience.
Come on, man. You can manipulate the matter around you.
Every moment is a new experience. And people
every second that's ticking by is an individual, unique moment. And if you wasn't there, you missed it. You had to be there. It's like that, man. You had to be there.
Your 404 today, your 404 today is not like your 404 yesterday. Even if you got a job, it's never the same.
Nope.
That's just how present. in the moment people need to be.
Oh yeah.
You got something to say, man, before we go ahead and swing this thing out?
Man, you know, we already wrapped it up. We started out talking about visualization and you know, the difference between goal visualization and process visualization and how they're both important. It's almost like a flip book. You see the first image on the first page, and then you see the last image on the last page. That's where you are now, where you're trying to be. You got to fill in all those images. You have to consciously create the images in the flip book. And so it has that fluent and, you know what I'm saying, that consistency, that story of your life that you want to tell yourself, how you got to the end goal. And you know, and we tied it in with how this culture is taken away from people's freedom to have that visualization. And really, it's not taking away their freedom. We really explain how people willingly give up their power, really because they think it's easier. There's no decisions that they have to make. And that causes them to, you know what I'm saying, seemingly not be able to refine their visualization, their manifestations, their human experience and shit. And we talked about how that leads to this like sense of inequality and this imbalance essentially in the grand scheme of the universe. So if we can remember those keys, man, and we can just remember that we are conscious creators, no matter what we think, say, or do, we are always creating. The mirror of reality is never not reflecting. If we can remember that, I think we will take more responsibility for our own actions and, you know, more of the blame, if you will, for our own experiences. But that's all I got, man.
Pretty much what he's trying to tell you is a lot of us got the first page drew and the last page drew, but you got about 60 pages in between that you ain't put an image on yet. So how you gonna, you know the start and you know the ending, but you got to figure out how you gonna get there. You got to visualize it, put it down on paper, draw it out. So that's the only way you're gonna be able to achieve that ending point, is if you visualize and plan out the whole trip. This is Journey to the Soul with Royalty and Indigo. And on that note,
It's time for tea time.
out.
Oh God.
We on a journey of the soul, yeah. Come and ride with me on this odyssey. See a different side of me, getting high and free. I know we're worthy of the show. Oh, man, know what a blessing. But learning these lessons through the spiritual lessons.